The Niners just wrapped up their first day of their training camp, and while many players participated, there was one big name who frankly didn't participate at all, and this has been the big news surrounding the Niners training camp for a while, and that player is Nick Bosa. According to Eric Armstead, he's actually been in contact with the whole entire D-line room, so that's encouraging. But since Bosa is working out one of the biggest contracts across the entire NFL, it wouldn't be wise for him to step on the field and then get injured and possibly jeopardize his future. So it makes a whole lot of sense why he would sit out. But this gives a whole lot of opportunities for players underneath Bosa to rise to the occasion and compete for the spot opposite of him. And the two starters today were Clelin Ferrell and Drake Jackson. And I frankly think Drake Jackson's going to take this number 2 job. He looks so much bigger, and even Chris Kasarik has given votes of confidence in Drake Jackson this whole entire offseason. So something that must be mentioned about this competition for the DN spot opposite of Nick Bosa is that today no one was wearing pads, so really all we had to go off of was their initial burst. And to me, Drake Jackson looks like he has one of the quickest steps across the entire defensive line room. And that's crazy because the Niners picked up Robert Beal Jr. and he's extremely quick as well. So the first thing that we need to mention is why Drake Jackson wasn't successful his rookie year. I mean, he had 3 sacks, but didn't light the league on fire. And the thing is, when we look at Drake Jackson's college days, he was misused. He wasn't put in the right position for him to succeed long term, as he's really an edge rusher and specialist, but they were putting him in coverage situations, leading to his body never really getting set up for the defensive line in the NFL. And another part to mention is when these guys are entering the NFL, they've never played a season as long as an NFL season. Drake Jackson even came out and said it really wore on him and he wanted to get more like weight and just mass so he's able to sustain himself through an NFL season. This offseason, Chris Kasarik challenged him to stack days, and this led him to being the strongest he's ever been in his whole entire life. He's finally able to bench 315 multiple times. He's quick. He has the athletic profile. I mean, this guy can do backflips. Finally, when we dive a little bit deeper into the Niners defensive line coach, Chris Kasarik, it's been obvious that he's the best defensive line coach across the entire league. He's gotten the most out of, frankly, scraps at times, including Kerry Hyder, Samson Ebukam, and Charles Omenihu. And I see Drake Jackson as one of the pieces that he picked out, developed, and now has a vote of confidence in. And if you couple him with Nick Bosa, once he gets his contract extension figured out, and Javon Hargrave and Eric Armstead, it's going to be nightmarish. Jackson will get plenty of one-on-ones, and I expect him to win a lot of them. However, this was just day 1 of Niners training camp, and these players didn't have pads on, and it's important to note that these are players where having pads on and being successful while an offensive lineman can grab your pads is important. So it's not the most important thing that Drake Jackson looks the best out there, but is encouraging given all the work that he's done this offseason. Furthermore, due to the heavy rotational emphasis that Chris Kasarik puts on his defensive line, despite maybe Clelin Ferrell not winning this job or Drake Jackson not winning this job, we should see plenty of them throughout the entire year. With all this being said, I'm extremely encouraged by the Niners defensive line, despite Nick Bosa not having his contract figured out. Usually the Niners do figure out these massive contracts, and I expect Nick Bosa will be no different. These are just my thoughts, however, and I'd like to hear your thoughts so far about the Niners training camp. It would also mean a ton to me if you liked and subscribed. And as always, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.